given up your sovereignty, to when you're little. Not many children make Jesus the Lord of their lives, and when you're children, and you're young, you have that age of innocence, that time that God is working with you, and you have not offended Him in such a way for Him to take away your childhood innocence. Of course, I can look at children. I'm not saying maybe in all aspects, but I can look at different children and see those that have innocence and those that do not. And that innocence, of course, is they're good with God, even not knowing God. They have an age of innocence. Some people have never lost their innocence. They, in fact, was good with God all the way through life. It's possible. Now, a little boy said, you find yourself. I just was in my mind, and I was in a sexual way in my private room, thinking I'm a dad, and in fact, I was thinking with possibly with a wife, and I was thinking, okay, my son walks around. Okay, my son, I have to shut the door and hide my intimacy with my wife, because in fact I am doing things that reward from God that two people get in holy matrimony, a reward of love making, and it's intimate and what have you. But I had another vision of me in a bathroom with me and my towel falling off after I took a shower, and my son walking in, and me not really covering up or being fearful, just okay, to instill the fact that you shouldn't be ashamed of how God made you. You shouldn't be ashamed of that. There's appropriate things to do and inappropriate things to do. Wouldn't want to teach shame to my future kids. But that's not the. It got me on a paradigm trip. In this image, they showed me with a boner coming out of the shower, and my towel fell off me, and my son seeing me, and I didn't, in my mind, jump to cover myself. In fact, they're like, okay, well, the devil was in you to get that boner. Why wouldn't you cover it up? And I was thinking, should little boys that go to school and they're sitting there, and sometimes by no accident of no fault of that little boy, they're sitting and they just get an erection. Should they be embarrassed about it? Should they feel bad about it? But of course, that erection will try to get you to go in the wrong direction. It'll try to get you to think of sexual things that will in fact take away your innocence and your good standing with God. Now, if we could teach children the right paradigms to, in fact, don't be embarrassed of your body if you have a woody, but be ready for lustful thoughts to try to take that feeling and try to drive you away from the holy God and to lose your innocence. In fact, to try to get you to do that which God would not have you do. Instead of celebrating this sexual sin agenda, Democrats, to get permanent votes, why don't we start teaching our children that, in fact, if we go the way of Satan, if we go in the way of what feels good, that in fact the end of the road doesn't feel so good. When you're a child and you see boobs for the first time, it feels so grand for a little while. You're a little boy and you see boobs for the first time. And then all of a sudden, after you get older and you graduate to higher. You look at the boobs, they're not as great of a feeling. You have to graduate down south and move along on the road, the graduating higher road of sexual mental sin. In fact, to graduate you to, after a while, doing it yourself, masturbation or whatever in your mind, you need visual aids. And then when you use visual aids, then eventually that's not good enough. You need a partner. And you're ever graduating higher and higher. Satan is using the lure of lust and the good feeling to lure you his way. If we can instill in our children the road of greater and greater sexual sin in our minds, and protect them, to teach them, in fact, to save themselves for that one person that God designed them to be with, if in fact God does design you to be married. If you follow the road of Satan, you'll find yourself many times that you follow the road of lust, but you're trapped when you're older of not having fun sexually. You can't get it up, or you can't have an orgasm, or you've followed the road of lust, and at the end of that road was disappointment and horror and depression. If you can fight along that road, to fight Satan and his lure, to do in fact save yourself for that one person. If you mess up, you ask God to forgive you and you try again, you get back up. If we can in fact teach our children to go God's way, we'll have a better society. But in fact, if I have a child and I step out of the shower and my towel falls, if it's a little girl, I'll probably slowly reach for my towel, put it back on. If I have a little boy, well, I'll do the same. I'll slowly reach down, grab my towel, and cover myself.